AI is here and it came to stay. The question is, how do we all learn AI and how do we actually stay up to date? And we have an expert on the matter with us here today. Hello and welcome, George Pillari.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you very much for taking the time. You just wrote the book about AI and it has a very special title, No Adult Left Behind. I think that's addressing a very important point here. AI is learning, are you? First question, of course, what was your motivation to write a book about AI at this point in time where so many people are writing something about AI, sometimes even by using AI? What was your core motivation here?
Well, I had true motivation, like a bolt of lightning hit me, honestly, where in the same week I worked with a friend who was trying to install a new stereo system in his house,
Hmm.
and he was flabbergasted, couldn't figure out where the cables plug in or whatever else. I took up my phone, I took a picture of the back of the panel, sent it up to the AI, and in, a minute we had the whole thing figured out. He had no idea what happened. Okay. He,
There
he
you
had
are.
no, and this is a smart guy, successful. This is why I sort of say no adult left behind, because you have a whole generation of people that have done well, but without any of these technologies. So how are they going to do now as the world starts shifting? In the same week, I had another person who just kind of is an expert on AI. All right. And he sent me a dialogue he had with Grok on a research topic, and I looked in it and he was writing, yes, please, thank you. He was conversing with it as if it was, an individual. So I had
Mm.
those two experiences in the same week. And I said, wow, there's quite a gap here.
Excellent. So you know that there are quite a number of people who know that AI is there, but they are rather scared and they say, I'm not engaging with it because as soon as I bring this to work or anywhere else, I think it's going to replace me. So what is your take on people saying, I'd rather stay out of this because my fear is it's going to take away my job?
Um, those are probably the people that are going to get hurt the most. There's a saying in sports, right? If you're an athlete, if you try to play carefully and all that, that's when you get hurt. Okay, when you think too much. This is just like Excel. This is like the internet. These are technologies that are this one very quickly getting embedded. Okay,
Mm.
go all the way back to the invention of radio and then television, telephone. Each of these technologies had an adoption cycle that was many, many times faster than the previous technology. And AI is going to swamp them all. Okay, look at the
Mm.
numbers. There's, 800 million users and all this kind of stuff. So I think these people they're naive and they're just a little uneducated. So the book
Mm.
is supposed to nudge them, because I have a lot of friends that fit in that category. All
Yeah.
right. And I feel bad for them. So the book is supposed to say, get down on your computer or your phone, play with it, ask it some questions. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to spend $20 a month for
Yeah.
you can have all of the world's knowledge in the palm of your hand for 20
Yeah.
bucks a month. You know?
Absolutely. Very good point here. And your book especially talks about productivity or careers or also certain industries. What can people expect when they buy your book now? Because there are a lot of books out there where many people say, I see the title, I just need to know what's actually in there for me. Let's talk about productivity. Anything in there?
Yes, absolutely. The hardest part of any job, I think, for most people, especially for me, is creating presentations. All right, where you might have a lot of really good information in your head, you might have a lot of good spreadsheets, interview data, and then you got to put it into a PowerPoint. It's horrible. I mean, there's many, many new
Yeah.
technologies that have popped up to make this less painful, new systems that are better than PowerPoint, but why bother? I just feed
Mm.
it all up into the AI and I say, I need 10 slides. Here's the focus I want. And what you get back is a pretty good draft. You still
Yeah.
have to push it around for an hour or two, but oh my goodness, all that agony. You can just say, hey, change the color scheme. You don't have to go into the settings and the master and all the, oh, that's all horrible stuff. It's all gone. So
Mm.
most of us have the knowledge and the information and we know what we want to say, but nailing it, in a concise slide presentation is where it breaks down. That's a big one. And the other is on resumes and job hunting.
Lots of work there. I just had a friend who gave me his resume, and I said, "Look, I see that you put work in there. However, I found six typos in there. That probably is not going to make a great look."
Yeah, typos are the least of the issues, but that's a big one. Okay, people are still sloppy. And what's going on is you have employers are using AI to sort through candidates. All right,
Yeah.
you never hit a human, right? At any company of any size. So, you have to fight back, all right, and use the AI to your advantage. Say, put your resume in, put in the job description from the company, and say, hey, tailor my resume to match this job description, and put a little footnote in. Don't make anything up, okay? And
Hmm.
now you have a puncher's chance. Okay, you're submitting something that lines up with what the AI is looking to see. I call it the battle of the bots, right? If you're going to have one arm tied behind your back, you're not going to win.
Mm.
So fight back. Use the AI to polish up anything that you're submitting for a job.
Absolutely brilliant here. And of course, I have to ask when people now say, look, I see, maybe they look you up and they find you on LinkedIn and then they see you have a pretty good, I mean, former partner, etc. So massive career here. And some people might think, I'm not that much of an academic actually. So maybe this read is too complicated for me. What kind of read can people expect when they open the book and just start with it?
Okay, I'll tell you not what I think. Okay, but I got about 50 reviews on Amazon so far. Right, the book's only been out a few weeks. And almost all of them mention something about the conversational style that is my voice. I write a weekly blog, right, called The Cautionary.
Hmm.
And so I'm used to
Hmm.
getting the message across concisely without a lot of extra language. And people don't want the technical jargon. Okay. They want to just know, what time it is. They don't want to know how the watch works. So I think from a readability standpoint, I'm getting really good reviews from people, friends, and even people I don't know who post reviews on Amazon telling me, I like the style. It's really easy to get through.
Excellent. So when people now think, okay, can you give me a taster when I say, okay, maybe one, two, 3 points, which will definitely help me in my daily life?
Okay, that's easy. I never pick up a user manual again. Okay, ever. When you buy any kind of electronics or any kind of appliance, never touch the manual. Take a picture of the device, feed it up to the AI, tell it your problem, and you'll get an answer. That's number one. Number two, you got to understand what's shaping different industries. You don't have to understand the technologies. Like for example, my favorite chapter in the book is about the autonomous cars and how everything is programmed in to the brains of the car, so that when the car hits a crisis situation, a dog runs in front of the car or something, it already knows what to do. It doesn't have to think, and it just has to, run the program in a millisecond and stop the car. Whereas a human would have to process what's going on, make a decision, and it just takes way too long. So I think there's some really interesting knowledge there because we're all afraid of autonomous cars to a degree. We hear the horror stories. I think if you understand that and you look at some of the stuff in the military chapter about how you still have things that are not fully autonomous. You still have humans making decisions to push the button. Very important. And then, of course, in medicine and in aviation, the technologies are pervasive, AI technologies. I mean, you go to the doctor's office now, almost all of them have an AI recording going on. All right. And what the AI recording does is it synthesizes the conversation down to the meaningful stuff. So the doctor doesn't have to spend 2 hours after a 20-minute appointment writing up notes. And aviation's been AI heavy for a long time. And I think it's interesting to just learn the pieces of how AI is fitting in there and where it doesn't fit, because there's a whole discussion of something called skills erosion. Whereas if you're used to having something automated, like on autopilot for airlines, they only fly the plane 3 or 5 minutes per flight manually. The
Hmm.
rest is all autopilot. So when you hit a crisis and the autopilot fails, you have a reverse problem, an inverse
Yeah.
problem here, where the human doesn't know what to do because they haven't had enough flying time without the AI guiding
Mm.
everything. So there's some interesting real world stuff in there that make you look at things a little
Yeah.
differently.
Excellent. I think these are the perfect final words. You saw, this is the book that's going to help you on AI. So at the end of this podcast and videocast, there's only one thing left for me to say. George Pillari, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.